Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Voice America, and I'm Patricia Raskin. And with us today we have Dianne Bischoff James, and she's written a very interesting book called The Real Brass Ring, How to Change Your Life Course Now. And she's really written the secrets of a midlife reboot. Welcome, really welcome, Dianne. Nice to have you on the program.
Thank you so much, Patricia. I'm just so happy to be here.
Yeah, I want to read a little more about you. That you had a lot of business success, and at 40 you embarked on a journey to find your heart and reignite a childhood passion for the dramatic arts. In 2003, you kicked off an acting career, and over 8 years became a SAG and AFTRA union actor with numerous film and television and industrial credits. And then you established Live Your Everything in 2012, which is a company that offers products and services and resources to support the path of reinvention and personal transformation. And again, your book is The Real Brass Ring, Change Your Life Course Now. Well, you know, it's not an easy thing to do. I've had to do it, and it's not an easy thing to do. But where do you start?
Well, my journey was particularly probably unusual in that I started my journey actually with a visit to a psychic. So I kind of position it as I was outed by a psychic. I went to Sonia Choquette, who is a world class psychic woman, person, and met with her on my 38th birthday as a birthday present. And I just expected her to tell me how wonderful I was and how much I'd lived this fabulous life so far because I had great business success, and I did everything they told me to do. I studied, I got my master's degree, I went to Northwestern, I got my mini mansion, I did everything that I was instructed to do as a child, and I followed through. And I sat in her office at the time in her home, and she literally undressed me for an hour. She told me that everything I had done and everything I'd been pursuing was wrong. I had my body was horribly out of shape. That was self-evident because I was about 190 pounds. I was huge. I was depressed. She was the first person to ever really nail me on that. It was totally accurate. I mean, I was taking Prozac at the time. She told me my marriage was fraternal and it was not a heart connection, and that I had never really experienced a heart connection before. And she said that I had all these talents in the creative arts, you know, actor, healer, speaker, and I wasn't doing any of it. So she pretty much labeled me as an unlit Christmas tree, and someone needed to take that plug and put it in the wall. And so I was in shock. I literally went to my car. I cried for 30 minutes. I wasn't able to move because I was a midlife failure on all fronts, and it was pretty devastating at the time.
So what did you do next?
Well, I was at first I was in overwhelm. It was a lot to hear that every area of your life was a mistake or an error, and I was going down the wrong path, and I didn't know quite what to do at first. So I at the time, about 10 years ago, I started looking at the simple things. I started buying books. I bought every book she told me to buy. I started reading and listening to tapes, and I actually discovered Abraham Hicks at the time, and I was able to catch them live in Chicago, just very serendipitous timing. And they started to make sense for me for the first time on how to really change, but I had to change from the inside out. They said, you have to start reaching for things that feel better. So the first thing I did is I said, I'm not a depressed person. I'm a happy person on the inside. I have a lot of baggage, but I knew that there was a happy person, so I got rid of all the pills. I said, I don't belong on any type of antidepressants. That's crazy. I then went to a place that Sonia recommended called the Hoffman Institute. You can find it at thehoffmaninstitute.org, and they are a place that redoes your emotional self. It allows you to connect with the heart and the core that's always been there, but was covered up by all the things.
I have been to the Hoffman Institute, and I've been through their training.
Oh, my goodness, we're Hoffman grads.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a lot of them actually running around. I guess there's almost 40,000, maybe 50,000 internationally, and it fixed the inside. It allowed me to start my reboot with kind of a clean emotional core, and I found self-love for the first time ever. And in scrubbing the inside, I was then able to address the outside.
Let me ask you this now. This is a very important question. When you say you found self-love, explain exactly what that means in layman's terms. Does that mean you liked yourself, you did yoga, you meditated, you took long baths? What does that mean?
For me, what it meant is that I was able to actually see my authentic self for the first time, my true self. I was able to give myself credit for everything that I had worked so hard, whether it was right or wrong. I acknowledged who I was as a true, beautiful soul, as an intellect, as a creative artist, as a woman, as a beautiful person. I was able to appreciate my body no matter what state it was in at the time. And I was actually, for the first time, able to touch on my authentic yes and no button. I think I'd always said yes because I was supposed to do things, but I really was able to get authentic with myself. Yes, I do want to pursue this work. No, I don't want to go out on that date. Yes, I do want to attend this movie. No, I do not want to buy another magazine for the magazine drive. Because I used to stuff everything. There was probably very little about me that was authentic. I thought I was supposed to do this. I thought I was supposed to buy that. Wear, cute shoes. Buy your Prada bag. I had the bling and all the wild, crazy things you were supposed to have and the huge flat screen TVs. But prior to that time, that was 100% completely inauthentic. I'd be happier sitting with a book by the lake for an hour than getting any of those things that I was supposed to do according to society. So I had to scrub the inside first, and then I was able to take a look at the outside. So that ties in the piece about the body, and I was very overweight. So after Hoffman, it was, to me, the food addiction, it was almost a miracle. It stopped, and I was able to drop about 45 pounds, and I've kept it off since then. I'm a little lower now even, and I was also able to, for the first time, say yes to the creative arts. So I started pursuing acting, and I was able to, very fortunate, very lucky, but I now am a SAG actor, and I was able to make my way into the Chicago acting scene, and I had no experience, no resume. I hadn't even been in a play in like 15 years. So I was very lucky. I was able to do that, and I took a look at my love life authentically. And
I want to go back, before we go to the love life, I want to go back to the acting, because it is extremely competitive. And when you say you were very lucky, I'm wondering if it was more than luck. I'm wondering if it was that you had an intention, that this is really what you wanted, and that the universe was really listening to you. What do you think?
Oh, I think it's a combination of all, Patricia. That was a multifaceted, positive experience for me. I'm lucky in that I believe Sonia gave me the thumbs up. So I had it's okay for you to pursue this. I had always wanted to do it, but I had been given the messages as a child that acting is a nonsense career and you can't pursue it, even though I'd always loved it. And I'd wanted to be on stage, of course, since I was like 3. But I was told it was a terrible career, so never go into it, put it on the side. So when I did reopen that part of my life, it went very quickly for me. I had some natural talent. I studied classes day and night. I found guides and individuals who were just miraculously available to help me and put that hand out and lifted me straight up where everyone else would have said no. And I also put all of my attention towards it. I have my next book, which I'm working on right now, has a 6-point formula that has allowed me to encapsulate all the manifestation techniques I've been putting together into a simple formula, and I used every part of that formula every day towards the acting. So I was able to turn mine from a red light to a green light in less than 18 months. And so I think...
What are some of the... I know you're writing this in the next book, so we don't want to give it away, Dianne, but what would you say are some of the key ingredients?
Well, it is using all 4 quadrants of self to reach full potential. And I kind of look at it as the full potential yardstick.
Which are, the 4 quadrants are physical?
Well, the 4 quadrants, well, let's start with the easy ones. The first one is physical. What exactly are you doing, physically to move yourself forward in that area? Are you investing in X, Y, and Z, whatever it is that you need to do? Because I think a lot of times people want things, but they're not willing to do the work. And that's the actual physical work on this plane, on this earth, every day. Mm-hmm. Another piece, of course, is the mental piece. Where do you sit mentally? Are you excited about it? Are you secretly terrified about it? Are there messages that you still have from the past that have said, you're never going to succeed? You have to look at all of that and really adjust it so that's not on the stinking thinking side, but it's on the positive side of that yardstick so that you can move forward. And then, of course, the other part very much is the emotional. That gets into, again, kind of the fear button. Where is your real true sense of emotional support for yourself? Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the tricks. I think we definitely can take ourselves down, as we probably both learned in the Hoffman. So much of it is about programming from childhood, programming from the past. It's not your real self. It's just some message that you heard as a kid, and it's not real. And then the last piece, of course, is spiritual, and that's the piece where it's the gift, it's the universe's hand that reaches down and is able to say, okay, you've done your part. Let me take this moment and let me reach you up and lift you to the next level, usually effortlessly. It's that phone call that comes in that says, oh, hi, by the way, I'd like to be your agent. And even though you have no experience, I had those. I had those phone calls.
So we're looking at physical, emotional, spiritual, and what was the last one?
Mental.
Mm-hmm. And the mental is the part of the work that you do. Absolutely.
The mental has a lot to do with the intentions. It has a lot to do with your, I call it the stinking thinking. When I was a chronic stinking thinker, and I had all the bad messages. When we'd go outside, people would say, be safe, and I used to think, oh, be safe, because I guess something's going to happen to me that's unsafe. Well, now we don't say that. It's like, have a good time, enjoy yourself, have a fabulous day, enjoy your drive, your trip's going to be great. So it has a lot to do with how you reprogram your mind as well. And I had to get out of all the disaster talk. And a lot of disaster talk going on in my head from childhood. And
so now I want to pull this to the next step, because now you had found fulfillment in your professional life. But now you wanted fulfillment in your personal life. How did you make that happen?
The personal life for me had multiple fronts. I had to deconstruct a marriage. I had to make the choice that marriage was just not fulfilling on a heart level. And so I did get divorced. Part of my personal life, of course, involves the children and the family life, and I had to be the ship and the steward and guide us through that so that everybody could get through the divorce and be happy, successful people. So I did it very intentionally. We were living in our micro-truth in the moment. The children had all the support they needed from me, but also from professionals, any professionals we needed to talk to, whether it be therapists or people at school or just looking, kind of outside the box with energy healers even. Mm-hmm. And so I was able to make the shift from marriage to single life as a single woman, midlife dating, and then was able to also help quite a bit with the children and the family life. And then part of that, too, of course, is recreating. I got rid of the mansion. I got rid of the mini mansion, and we went to a much smaller home. We went to a rental situation and had to live small. And I think that actually has been a blessing. A blessing not only for me, because the ring and the bling wasn't working for me, but living a little bit smaller, I think, has allowed us to actually be more adaptable, more flexible, and I just didn't want to buy into the materialistic ways, and I was hoping not to show my kids that 7 vacations a year to the Bahamas is real. I mean, it's great, but I think we could have a great vacation once a year, and I drove them all to Tennessee last year to see life and live in, the swimming holes, and just to see a different part of the country in something that was a very affordable vacation, because we also had to go through the recession with everybody else.
So what you're really talking about is there's so much involved here, but one is your intention, one is really seeing what makes you authentic and makes you happy inside, not just outside.
Absolutely.
That's something that you really just talked about a lot, is the outer world. Now, it's true that the outer world is nice. It's nice to have the trips, and it's nice to have the nice home. But you're saying that it doesn't give you the happiness.
It didn't for me, that's for sure.
Mm.
And I think if we watch TV, the Kardashians might also support that theory, that I don't see a happy group over there.
How did you find your love?
I spent many years as a single woman reinventing myself, even as a single woman, because I didn't date a whole lot before I got married. So I had to really rediscover myself as a single woman. And to be honest with you, I had a wonderful time. I was in Chicago, and I was able to, when I didn't have the kids, I could go downtown. I played. I was able to go dancing and see movies and have wonderful dinners and explore the arts. So I rediscovered myself as a human being through my dating experience and found that I really liked myself even more than after I graduated from Hoffman, just because it was so reinforcing to meet such wonderful people. But those relationships were a little bit more short-lived. I put myself on a formula, actually, when I wanted to get serious and find a partner, and that formula is what drove me to the person who I'm currently engaged to at the time.
And what was that?
I was so clear, Patricia. I listed everything that I wanted in a partner, and I made sure that in my dating experiences, when I went through my list, and I called it my I want list, and I identified every single feature and characteristic that were important to me, being specific but not too specific about what I was looking for in a lifetime partner, a long-term partner. And any person who didn't meet that requirement at the time, I flashed a little light across my head, metaphorically, and it was called the date over sign. And if someone either was doing things I didn't care for, whether it be involved in too much alcohol or whether they too were, struggling with major issues, if they physically I just didn't find them attractive, or if they weren't finding their own passion or pursuing their own passion, I would very quickly flash my little date over sign, and I would very politely and very sweetly we'd stay friends, but I would not pursue that person as a romantic interest. And I think when I got serious about it, the universe got serious about it. So they matched my intention. And I very
Did that include physical relationship too? You stayed away from that until you found the right person?
Oh, I was always pursuing love. So I was very, very, very intentional about that. I had to truly have a mutually exclusive, loving relationship before I would pursue much on the physical side, just because my heart really needed to find love, and that was truly important for me.
Yeah, and you were very clear. So because you were so clear, as you were in the other areas today that you've discussed, that's why it came to you. Now, when it came to you, did you know right away?
Yes, because there was so much synergy that it seemed, I tried to flash the date over sign with him, but I couldn't because he met all the criteria. And the more I tried to find reasons to not pursue the relationship, the stronger I saw that the signs, we had similar background. We had lived in the same city in high school. We had gone to the same college. We had both gone to Northwestern, and we were both in the same business field. It was beyond just serendipity. It was truly something from the universe, because I couldn't have crafted that if I wanted to. There's no way I could have found someone that was such a perfect match. So it was the universe matching my intention.
That's such a heartwarming story. And what's interesting in your book, when you write The Brass Ring, what you're talking about is everything that led up to really getting what you wanted in life and what fulfills you.
Absolutely.
What else do you want our listeners to know? What's the message of your book?
Well, the message of the book is about midlife reinvention, and that it not only is a positive, wonderful, fabulous thing to pursue, it's possible, it's real, and it makes you feel so much better about yourself as a woman, as a man, whoever you might be, just to feel much more fulfilled doing 1 minute of something that you love versus an entire week of something that is just okay. And what I find to be the most satisfying part is we have a website. It's called liveyoureverything.com, and I know you mentioned that. And I'd like to create it. It's new, and we're still developing it, but it's a sanctuary for midlife transformation. And I've offered tips, tools. We have a brand new product line that's coming out that will have just small reminders about how wonderful you are and how good it feels to truly find your heart. We're going to have inspirational quotes, music, meditation, television interviews with others who have achieved success, and just to once again show that it is 100% possible and it feels awesome to do it.
Oh, that's really wonderful. Now, when you say midlife, are you saying 40s, 50s, 60s?
40s and beyond. I don't think there's an end date. I think at any time you can transform. I just recently met a woman who is in her 80s, and she just started playing drums, and she's in a band, and she's loving it. And it's just heartwarming to talk to anyone doing anything that just turns their light on. It's exciting to see.
I want to read something that's in your book. According to Don Miguel Ruiz's The Four Agreements. Here are 4 steps to personal freedom. 1, always do your best. 2, be impeccable with your word. 3, don't make any assumptions. And 4, don't take anything personally. That one I need to read over a few times. And I want to read what he says there. Don't take anything personally. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. Wow. I just went right to that passage.
So accurate. Completely
accurate.
But it's
also, I think, a real issue for a lot of us. I mean, I've been in this industry, in this business for years, and that's something I still grapple with, is taking it personally. I'm sure I'm not alone.
I think everybody feels the same, and it's taking me several years of practice, and I actually have to practice it, because if someone says something and I get that little inner zing, that little feeling where they said something, whether it be about my weight or something I've just produced, or they used a shame and blame kind of comment, it will zing. It will zing inside. And I have to sometimes still sit with that and let it kind of dissipate, let it calm down, and remember that whatever that comment was that was made, especially if it's a shame or blame comment, that it comes from them and the messages that they heard, usually, again, in childhood. And I work very hard at moving straight to compassion. Rather than let that comment resonate with me and wonder, why did they say that this was a disappointment or it didn't work out right? I go straight to, oh my goodness, I wonder what you heard as a kid, because that's where that comes from. And I'm better at it. I'm not perfect, but I'm getting a lot better at noticing that it truly is from the other person's core and hurt or pain that they've experienced, and it just gets projected out. But it takes a lot of practice to go there.
What is your advice to women in particular in midlife that have been through crisis, whether it's a health crisis or an emotional crisis in a relationship or a work crisis of, losing their job or career? What would be your advice to them? Dianne, you've written a whole book on this, but what would you say to them right off?
Well, the first thing I would recommend is use the crisis, of course, as an opportunity. A crisis is typically there because almost everything is at our own hand, and you've brought it to that point so that you'll take a look at it. So to number one, embrace the crisis as a beautiful chance to put yourself on a life review and to be honest and come clean with yourself, whether you get a helper, either, a therapist or a friend or someone that you can talk to, and allow yourself to go on a life review. I had the chance to do that. Take a look at every aspect of your life in complete honesty and ask yourself where it is in your current state and allow yourself to vision that future state. And that gap between the two is kind of where the crisis sits. The crisis is usually because you've been going down a path so long that you wouldn't take a stand towards the change, so the change came to you. And so I truly look at the crisis as a beautiful opportunity. It doesn't always feel that way. In fact, most of the time it doesn't feel that way. But when it does present itself, whether you're out of a job and you have to make a shift, I consider the recession to have been my great equalizer. It equalized not only everything I was going through, it equalized everybody around me. People who had big houses oftentimes had to sell them. People who were in a career that they pretty much had hated every day had to take a look at it and say, now what do I want to do? How do I change my life now? And for me, the great equalizer of the recession is that it gave me, and we had very quiet work. I mean, I think we didn't have any billing income for almost 9 months to a year. And the beauty in that, I didn't realize it at the time because it didn't feel so good, but the beauty in it is I finished the book. And had I not had that window of the recession, I'm not sure the book would ever have been able to be birthed because I was involved in so many activities.
Well, that's where you find the opportunity in the crisis.
Right.
And you find, that's what my work is all about. That's why I do these shows. I mean, this is what I do, is I bring people on like yourself to share this, to say to the public and to the audience, there is always an opportunity in the crisis, and you have to find it. There's always hope, and that's what the programs do, is give you hope.
Right.
I'm really the catalyst pollinator to get this information out. Because I think it's hard for a lot of us. I mean, I find I have my challenges. As much as I believe in positive thinking and I'm a proponent and I interview amazing people like yourself every single day, still, things will come up where you hit a block. And you have to look at that. And so is it a block or is it a way to open up another door? And that's what you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think our challenge is to live our wild, courageous, brilliant self every single day. And that's probably the work, I believe that's the work of this lifetime. If you were able to every day be your wild, courageous, brilliant, beautiful self, what would that look like? It's exciting.
Well, it is, and it's been a pleasure to have you on. How can people find out more about your book?
The book is, you can find it on my website, liveyoureverything.com. And there's information, there's quotes, there's music, there's meditation. Soon there'll be products. And there's access to the book, and this radio show will be on our website.
Wonderful.
As soon as we can.
All right. Thank you so much. Stay on the line for a minute. Thank you so much, Dianne, for being on the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, my guest has been Dianne Bischoff James. Her book is The Real Brass Ring, Change Your Life Course Now. You can log on to liveyoureverything.com. All right, folks, remember, stay healthy, stay happy, get the support you need.